Hello, 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 beautiful people. Welcome to episode 4, season 4 of We Are with Ro. I'm your host, Ro Carter, and my amazing co-host, Rob Smith. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. How are you, Ro?
I'm good. We survived the hurricanes, at least downtown, Miami did, South Beach and stuff like that. And now, just trying to live my best life, brother. I got my birthday on Saturday. When's your birthday, isn't it?
February.
That's right. So after Valentine's Day?
That 3 days after Valentine's Day.
And your sister is the day after?
Yep. Look at you with that memory.
Play.
And your birthday is this Saturday? Happy early birthday.
Yes, sir. The 19th. I will be. Woo! We ain't gonna talk. We ain't even gonna. Woo!
You ain't that old. That's right. October 19th. I got it in my phone.
Getting older. Goddamn. Anyway, what's going on with you, brother?
Well, just prepping for some major events.
I'm not even gonna make fun of you on the main channel. I'm not gonna. Rob is getting a whole new set. He's gonna be great.
Oh, I'm gonna show it off too. Don't worry.
All right. I used to tell people I used to work in the fitness industry. I was like, listen, man, you don't want me to get a six-pack because I'll be coming into work, just with a blazer on and that's it. Shoot.
Blazer, no shirt.
Yep, that's it. Wesley Snipes, his whole thing. Don't play with me. Anyway, anything else going on?
Show off them abs. I said, show off them abs, bro. Show them off.
I got a 4-pack. I've stayed 2 to 4. That keeps me grounded. You get more than that, you start like just yeah. You woo, man. So I keeps me level, keeps me grounded. Keeps me intact. So just like to stay there. And then I'll probably take another break off after Halloween. I'll take a nice little cleanse until Thanksgiving.
There you go.
Nice little thing. So get the
What's new with you? What's going on, bro?
Nothing. Like I said,
you gave an update. Do you guys have another hurricane coming, or that one passed?
Yeah, there's another mild thing coming, so it's windy right now. I don't think it's gonna hit us. The good and the bad, like where we're at, I'm not getting hit by anything really lately. So knock on wood. It's either gonna go up the coast or it hits Tampa. Like we're just like it just literally splits like this. So it is what it is, but a little windy. Excited. Your LA Dodgers are playing the Mets. Yankees are in the World Series. We're in the playoffs as well. They're playing the Indians, so they have a chance to go to the World Series. So do the Mets. And so right now, New York is like in this crazy like energy. When I talk to people, like, bro, if there's a Subway Series, it's gonna go crazy. And I was like, it is gonna go crazy. So a friend of mine posted ticket prices for the game 2 of the Yankees are in the playoffs, or sorry, in the World Series. Woo, all right, $5,000.
$5,000. I didn't even know it was a game happening. So
yeah, man.
$5,000.
$5,000, and that's just with. Listen, it'll get worse when the Mets get in. It'll definitely get worse, and that's the only thing I hate when the fans suffer because of the greediness of just these big markets, and New York is a huge market. So all the diehard fans that make the games what it is are going to be out of there. They're going to be priced out. And I'll example of this. My cousin took me to Game 5 for the Boston Celtics. There wasn't one of us in sight. I never seen that before in my life. Listen,
I don't think you paying $5,000 to watch baseball.
Besides security and besides brothers playing on the court, there wasn't in sight. I was like, damn, this is weird. I was like, we burning something later? What are we doing here? Tiki Torch, this is crazy.
Like they know something I don't know?
Mm-hmm.
Should I run?
Anyway, let's get right along. We have an amazing show tonight. I selected a horror movie because it's October, Halloween coming, all that good stuff. So I saw this on TV and I was like, oh, this should be interesting. It was called Mr. Crocket on Hulu, directed by Brandon Espy. So I wanted to give this a chance. So I sat down, didn't know what I was going to get into, and this took me for a little bit of a ride. So there's some good parts and in between parts. So we'll dissect it, but I just want to get into it. It's called Mr. Crocket. It follows basically a mother played by Jerrica Hinton as she witnesses her son kidnapped by a demonic children's show host from his VHS tape. So the kids put a VHS tape in, and it's an old school, like the box that you used to get like all the Disney ones in. They play it, and then if your parents are acting up while that's going on, this creepy guy will come out of the TV, kind of like Ring, and he will set your parents straight. And then he will kidnap you and take you home to his environment. And so the mom in this she gets her son kidnapped, and so she's on a hunt now to find him. The cops don't believe her story. I wouldn't believe it either. Someone coming out of TV took my child. As she's going on to try to figure out what's happening and really find the backstory of this character and of Mr. Crocket and who he is, she runs into other people where their kids have been taken, or at least that's what she's been told. And then that unfolds to another story. This movie, I felt, had a lot of potential because it starts off, like The Ring, when she comes out of TV, and I was like, oh. So there's this one scene, I'm not gonna give spoilers, but there's this one scene at the beginning of the film, and the kid is watching Mr. Crocket, and they say, hey, son, come eat your food. And he's like, I'm watching. He's like, get over here now. And his dad is yelling at him. Old militant black man. I was like, okay, here we go. And sitting down, now he's yelling at the mom and his son. And so all of a sudden, Mr. Crockett's like playing with his characters on the show. And he's like, and I was like, oh, he turns over and I was like, oh, this is going to be crazy. And so that's when the movie, I was like, oh, we got potential here. There's some roller coasters, but I love the idea and premise of the movie. What do you think about that, Rob?
I actually did like the premise of the movie. So stepping into it, I was like, oh boy, here we have another thing centered around a VHS tape or a TV show. It's going to be more of the same because both of those concepts have been done already. Or like the sharing of a video cassette tape or whatever. But I thought the inclusion of the children's story and how, what his goal was, and what was driving Mr. Crocket, I thought it was all very creative and fun. I hate horror films. Hate with a capital H.
You had all the lights on when you watched this?
I watched it in the dark.
But it didn't feel too. Did it feel too like hard?
No, it didn't. That's
not
what
campy either, but it was like in between.
It felt like one of the horror films of our childhood, I would say.
Mm-hmm,
so like watching those back now, you're like, oh, this actually wasn't that scary. But if you're a kid, I think watching this, you'd be terrified. I
didn't think about that because now our lenses are at a different age. So yeah, if I was a kid, I was like, oh man, I love you, Mom.
You'd be sleeping with the lights on and asking Mom and Dad, can you come sneak into bed to sleep there tonight? If you were a kid, but as an adult, it's just entertaining. It wasn't too horrifying. I did think to start it off with that level of grotesquerie, like that level of like gore, was a little much for me. I'm not a gore person, but overall it was fun. So I'm not.
I'll say that it wasn't a bad gore. Like they did it. It was tasteful. I thought it was a little because you can't just go like too gory and it looks too fake and you're like, oh god, and you can lose me. Versus it was gross and gory. It was like, oh, because it reminded me of like what if Pee-wee's Playhouse came to life and they were crazy and they want to kill everybody. Yeah. that's what it kind of felt like. I was on the set of like a demonic Pee-wee's Playhouse. I was like, okay, this is interesting.
The plate of food and the stuff.
Yeah, that was gross.
It was a lot for the opening 5 minutes of a film.
But it set the tone, though.
It set the tone. And I think at first I was like, hate that they started it like this. But then I was like, okay, I guess it's helping to tell the story because we get another critical character out of that moment. Yeah,
and so the only thing I really had a knock on, I just wanted to know what was going on, like what was his origin story. And they don't tell you his origin story until what, three quarters into the movie.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, come on. I'm like, give me something because I don't know what he can do, right? So at least it was similar to like A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Ring, Candyman. It had all those kind of elements, but at least you knew the powers of what this person could do. And so at one point I'm thinking, oh, does he only kill dads? Right, because both the moms survive, right, and the one-offs, and then the other guy, he survives. So I was like, so what's his MO? Am I killing everybody or just one or two people who get to, you know what I'm saying? You didn't really know what his powers were, what his purpose was, and what he was trying to prove until later on. You know, you got a feel of it just because you saw the kids being treated in a bad way, but it was an argument, you know. And in the one case, the mom, she loses her husband, and so she's now the mom and the dad. And so she's trying to build this bond with her son. And this movie also takes place in 1993. So it's a totally different time, you know, kind of talking about your feelings and understanding what was going on. He just didn't have those outlets. Like she even shows herself listening to a tape cassette of how to like bond with your son or with your kids. And I was like, by the end of it, she's like, oh my God, what the hell is this crap? And so I was like, wow, I forgot the 90s were just such a weird time where we have everything at our hands, at our fingertips nowadays. So those things you take for granted, like, oh, wow, man, how is it? If I wanted to Google something, I couldn't Google it. You know, I couldn't find out how to bond with my child based on, you know, he just had a loss. And so it was very interesting to see, especially a Black mom at that time, to kind of deal with all those pressures of losing her husband and now losing her son later and still trying to fight and find out what is going on. And how long do you look for your child?
Forever.
Okay. All right. Hey, man, don't look at me. I'm just asking a question.
Forever.
At some point, 20 years from now, he's 20 years old.
Who?
I'm just saying, if your son has been missing for 20 years.
Yeah, some people still look into it. They
still looking?
Yeah, you don't. I mean, that you want to keep that cold case open. You want to find your child.
If my child is still alive, listen, my child's still alive, 20 years old, probably good.
No, bro. You still want to resolve what's happening.
I'm just saying, if child is still alive, he probably good. He want to find you. I'm just saying.
Yikes.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just my thoughts, not black film. Just my thoughts.
Keep looking. I would keep looking, bro. I would keep looking.
Okay, so Rob's looking. 20. I don't know. That's a long time.
No, like I got rid of that bill.
No, I'm 20 years old. It was never a bill. It was never had a bill. For instance, the other day, my girlfriend's going to the store, and I went to the wrong Publix. Oh my God, woo! And so I was like, "How long do I look for you at the wrong Publix?" Seriously, how many drive arounds do I do? Get out of the car because her phone died. Like there's got to be a limit to certain things, like relationships. Like, you know, how many times? 5 times good, or do I just keep looking until I find you? Like, you know,
you gotta keep looking, bro.
All right, you're a different guy. Anyway, moving right along. So there was do we want to give it away? Like what his background is?
No, I don't think we should spoil it. We should let them watch it.
Okay. No one's watching this. So Halloween, they'll watch it. Halloween, check it on Halloween. It's a good time. Kids definitely see this. You will lose your mind. Okay, so we find out later, which there's another character, one of the moms who loses her son in like the beginning of the film, and so she became a crazy woman because, and I understand she goes crazy because she's like, hey, my son's gone, my husband was killed, and no one believes me, and am I losing my mind? So she gets these powers later where she can tap into Mr. Crocket, which please explain that one. They just throw that out there where she can tune in with these TVs and figure out who's his next victim. And so they use this to find him and go into his world. And my brain is like, how? How does this parent get this power? They don't explain this. So those are the things, like little critiques that I'm just like, come on, guys, just give me some background.
Well, I mean, we are living in a world where there's a demon who lives in a TV who kidnaps children and brings them into the TV world he has. So
all you have to say is like when you see him, you're left with something that puts you in touch with his world. Boom! See what I just did? Very simple.
She kind of did. She explained it while she was sitting in front of the TVs with them. She said that over time she figured out how to tap into the frequencies that were coming from the TV. And that's why she got possessed. She got possessed. She had looked, you know.
You know what, Rob?
You didn't accept her.
I didn't accept that. I didn't say you. Come on, you got to give me something better than that. You know, even when she sees the other kid earlier, like, "Hey, I've been doing this forever. You know, just in the beginning, like say, hey, when she's trying to take the kid and warn him, like, oh my
Yeah.
God, he's like, Major, let me tell you this. I've been watching these TVs. He's coming for you next. He's coming for you next. Like, I know what's going on. Like, just give me that. Just drop that 2 seconds. And then I'm like,
it was a crazy lady trying to snatch him from in front of his house. He wouldn't have heard anything she said.
but I would have heard it, Rob. I would have heard it. The viewer. And I would have been like, you know what? That makes sense now. It's all coming together.
Gotcha.
So that's my only thing. It's like it jumps around a little bit too much. But shout out to the brother Elvis Nolasco, who plays Mr. Crocket. He did a hell of a job. This is like Mr. Rogers, the black Mr. Rogers. If Bill Cosby met Mr. Rogers and then creepy Bill Cosby met Mr. Rogers and just had a crazy time. It was just, he was animated. He was fun and loving at the same time because you kind of feel his story because, again, he's just trying to do right by the kids. So at some points when you're watching these killings, you're like, all right, I understand that. You know, I could justify it. Not saying it's right, but I could justify what's going on.
Some of the parents were pretty deadbeat.
Yes. And so you felt for the character, you understood the character because you were like, okay, he's just trying to give this kid a better home. And then later on, it explains how he tried to help out one kid, which led to his demise, but also led to who he is today. And that blows your mind. Like, what the? Okay. And so, but they do that through animation, which was old school animation. So I kind of like that, you know, when the Jackson 5 used to run around, they used to do a show, and they used to show them running around as cartoon characters. So I was like, oh, I haven't seen that in such a long time. So how did you like that added into the movie? Did it take away from it or did it add a little?
No, it actually worked. And I think it worked because we were living in this children's fantasy world as well whenever it came to Mr. Crocket. So it worked. And I actually thought it was like a fun way to tell his origin story. And it was like, it went from like whimsical and fun to disgusting and creepy as the cartoon progressed. So it was a fun, I think, breakup of the disgusting, grotesque world that he lived in. So it was nice. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it also gave you a break from all the darkness because the movie was getting. I was like, the movie getting very dark. Can we get some sunlight in here just a little bit? Another knock I'll have is the show takes place in 1993. He only had like 6 or 7 kids. So I'm like, brother, what's going on here? What's going on in your hustle? I need more kids.
Yeah,
and he was taking any kids now. It was like when the first show had 2 black kids, then it was like Asian kid, a little white girl. I was like, what the hell's going on? So now he's diversifying his kids, which I don't know if I like it or not, because I would like if he would just stuck with black kids. No, because then you have a job. Like now it's a black boogeyman, right?
But
because he's trying to save little black kids.
But he's just saving children. So
yes, I understand. I don't know if I like that though. I kind of, because then it's for us. Does it make sense?
Yeah, but I like it this way.
All right, it's up to you. I'm just saying. I kind of like just having that. Oh man, you got to be careful. Mr. Crocket gonna come for you.
I'm not. Hey, listen, I'm happy. I'm in a good space. I'm not abusive.
But again, no one got hit upside the head though. It wasn't like the kids.
I don't know.
The one girl poured water on her dad. I was like,
he was doing meth or heroin or whatever. He was shooting up his arm. And
he wasn't hitting his daughter. He was trying to.
We don't know what the hangman parent did.
Yeah, that was crazy.
We don't know what they did. We just saw the little kids screaming in the TV. So whatever it was not safe. So I don't know. It was some uncomfortable.
Do you like that they left it up to your imagination to figure out like what these parents did, or would you rather have seen like, oh, they did the act and this is justifiable about why he's coming in?
No, because we already know from the taking of Major that Mr. Crocket is a little off his rocker, and he's taking kids also from circumstances where they're not necessarily in a bad situation, where they're just in a space where they're a child who's upset in a moment for being reprimanded by their parents. So we already saw 2 instances where kids were taken from a parent who was actually a good parent. So no, so I don't think they needed to dive into us seeing the detail of what violence was being enacted upon the kids, because Mr. Crocket was just taking everybody willy-nilly.
Okay. What moment stood out to you in the film?
Stood out. Ooh, bro.
Yeah, like was there like a moment like, oh man, this is what made it for me, or this was like we talked earlier at the beginning of him coming out of the TV, that was creepy. Was there anything else that kind of like, okay, that was a really cool shot, or I love that, I kind of like that idea, or this worked?
No, I mean, yeah, I liked the introduction of like the magic marker. I
Oh,
like,
that, you know what? That's a valid point there. Yeah, that
yeah,
was good. That was good.
the
It was
magic
done. That
marker.
was done well.
It was done very well. It was creative, and it kind of
That's where the budget went, by the way.
helped them justify that world. So that was fun and creative and inventive. So I like that. Um, I knew immediately that there was something wrong with the other person who was introduced in the circumstance, but I think it was the way that the character was played, which I think
Yes,
was
I think you would
intentional.
have played him a lot better. Please, casting agency, Rob again. That's another. That's another. There's a light skinned brother in the film. There's something that happens to him. Again, I'm not just putting Rob in light skinned roles. I think he can do anything. But there's a point where I'm like, he was already given away. Like he, but I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, you do acting. Are you supposed to? Is that character supposed to lead into like you're feeling something that he might?
That could have been a choice from the director for him to play it that
Right.
way. So I don't necessarily blame him, but I did know for sure that there was something peculiar, and I knew that he was not the same as the other parents.
Yeah.
So I already
also,
knew
he was a man, and so I don't think any guys survived.
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like,
That's true.
I was like, you survived? I'm like, how you survive?
How did you get through? And which one was your kid? Because I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't see anybody that matches what you be putting down. I don't know. Okay, all right.
Where your kid at? That would have been my first question when we walked in there. Where your kid at?
But that also shows the hopelessness of her character. Like she just anybody that can help her out, she'll do without doing like a background check on him as well. He also comes knocking at her house at like midnight. I'm like, well, I don't know you. Like, why you know? I thought he was gonna do something with her in the car. I thought it was a scene where they're in the car. I'm like, oh, he might be working with Mr. Crocket. I was like, you never knew. And so that was interesting. That suspense. Like you didn't know what their relationship was or if there was a relationship, but you definitely felt something was going on. So it was very peculiar.
It was very obvious something was wrong. And I thought the same thing. I was like, does he work with Mr. Crocket? Because this is real uncomfortable. So yeah, that was the only thing that was a little off to me. I wish they wouldn't have made it so obvious that he was off. I would have liked to believe that he was not a villain up until the point we discovered he was.
Yeah. And but also it's like you understood where he was because he was hurt as well.
Of course.
You know? And so he just needed some place where he belonged. But Mr. Crocker was like, not today. Not today. Mr. Crocker was like, not today. You got to see that scene. That was crazy too. Could you see this character becoming bigger than the one show? You see a sequel? Even though they set it up to be a sequel, do you see like someone like, hey, let's take this away, let's add this, and let's really like bring it home?
Well, I think Hulu will probably pick it up for a sequel. I think so. Did
you like the character, the guy who played Mr. Crocket?
I did. I thought he did a phenomenal job. I thought he really embodied that character, and it was very believable for it to be such a like fantastical character. His performance was very grounded and truthful, and it was layered, and his performance was based in his desire to fulfill a need to save these children, and it was really truthful, and it was really coming from a place that was like authentic, and I felt like his performance was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, he didn't overdo it, which is like, it's really nervous. I was nervous for him and that character and that role, because you can make or break, that character right off the bat, right? If you go too hard into the paint, it's like, oh God, like this is so obnoxious. But he did it in such a playful, smart way where you felt for the character, but you also wanted to know more, but you were intrigued. Like, what the hell is this guy about, Yeah. The way he moved, and he smiled at the door like, hey, Mr. Crockett's here. And I'm like, okay. And then the brother's like, what the hell are you doing in my house?
Mr. Crocket was a little hood. He was a little hood.
He was. Then when he got a little hood, he's like, mother. I was like, oh. So he did it. It was a great balance. and he didn't overplay, which shout out to Elvis Nolasco for that, because the potential was it could have been really bad, but he did a really good job. So even if the movie goes on to where I'd love to see him as a character coming back. There was any quotes that you took from the film at all?
No, there's no quote. Listen, I'm not watching horror films.
Even the song, no, even the songs, they were like,
that was one thing I thought was fun. It brought it back to that era of like 90s horror films. Children's
songs.
So, like the little theme song that is scary that you cannot get out of your head as a child and you're freaked out. So I thought that was great that they brought that energy to it. So it was perfect for this piece that since it was based in that time period.
Oh, there was the one quote by the mom when they get into a fight and she like names the hood where she's from. I was like, come on, girl.
I say, okay.
Yeah, I was like, that's how we get down here. I was like, okay. All right.
Okay. You did it.
Shout out to the kids too. They did a great job. I'm sometimes mixed on children actors. They can, oh my God, make or break a scene. Woo! But all these kids did a good job. So I like that balance. Overall, great cast. Even though everybody has like a minimal role in the film, because you're giving a lot to Mr. Crocket and to him. I'm sorry, and to the mom in the situation. So the balance of the characters that come in and out is really well done. Again, like I said, the only things I want to critique, he comes in one of her dreams. And is that her dreaming or is that him? Like, you just didn't know what his skill sets were and what he could do, what he couldn't do. So that's the only thing, my knock on that. And just explaining, like, what the hell is going on in some parts. It's just kind of all over the place. But overall, I really did enjoy the film. And thank you for bringing the little kid back in me, because I was like, oh, man, if I would have saw this at, like, 11 or 12, oh, man, I'd be like, okay.
I would have been creeped out. Creeped all the way out.
What was your scariest film as a kid growing up?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
That was it. That was definitely, because Freddy was getting into your dreams. You didn't want to mess with that. You didn't mess with that.
Pulling people through mattresses. No. And was that Johnny Depp? Like,
oh yeah, when that was a scene. Like, oh Lord, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
It was that movie. That movie for me and The Ring. Yo, I'll never forget when we saw The Ring in the movie theater. I was like, what, 13? That movie came out. I remember I turned my TV the other way because I had it where my TV was at the bottom of my bed, and so I literally I turned my TV. Oh. I was like, "You ain't getting me. You ain't getting me."
I was scared to sleep in the bed for so long. So long, I was scared to sleep in the bed because of that Nightmare on Elm Street. Scene.
Candyman was good back then too. But
I refused to watch it. I refused to watch that,
really?
And I wouldn't watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre when I was a kid.
I didn't like those. Those ones where you like in the sticks, and there was never a brother in those films. Just white kids act stupid in the hills. I'm like, yeah, the hills have eyes. I'm like, yeah, I ain't going there. I don't need to see that movie.
I was scared of Children of the Corn. I was scared of the no, I don't want to have anything to do with any of that.
I see a little white kid in the middle of a cornfield. I'm running. What are we talking about?
I'm out.
No, we're done. But that was funny. So I really love the potential of what this could be. So check it out. You never know. I like it.
Yeah, and shout out to Brandon Espy. I feel like I can't remember. I feel like I've seen him around in Los Angeles. But shout out to him for writing and directing it and getting it on Hulu. It's phenomenal.
Takes time. You want to give it a rating, or you just want to give it a recommendation?
Let's just give it a recommendation.
All right.
But I say watch it. It was a entertaining film. I think it was a good throwback to like those 90s horror films that, again, if you're a kid, you will be like deathly horrified by this. And if you're an adult, you'll be like, oh, I can handle this. So as an adult, I say an adult who hates horror films, if you hate horror films, you can watch this one. You'll be all right.
It's nice. It's one of those marathon days, right? Like Halloween on a weekend. You show all those marathon like horror films. I think it gets an honorable mention for being in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. That's all we got, guys. That's it. Thank you for tuning in as usual. Good times. Talk about some stuff. Got some things out there. Good luck to the Mets and Yankees. My Jets play Sunday. We're the worst team in the NFL, so hopefully we'll figure it out. My hair's gone because I can't with this.
We don't want your hair falling out, bro. You got a good head of hair over there.
It's good, right? This is good.
Yeah.
See, that's staying in there. That's good. That's good stuff.
It's a good head. Good head.
Go to the barbershop and they're like, man, what are you doing? I'm like, for you, player. I do it for the people that can't grow it.
Exactly.
That's what I do it for. Rob knows.
They don't have to put out what you call that stuff they spray in there?
No, they be spraying. Ooh. And down in Miami, they want to spray right off the bat. I'm like, yo, get that spray off.
Put your hairline down here.
Yeah, help, brother. Spray. I'm like, no, I'm good.
You're like, nope, I'm good.
As soon as I leave, it's Miami. You're gonna be dripping down the side of you, looking like Giuliani, when he was doing that press conference. I'm like, exactly. What are we talking about? All right, that's our show. There's some good movies coming out, so we'll have something. I haven't been to the movies in a minute, so I like to get back out there. So
to the movies for the next one.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see what's out there. If not, there's some new releases coming out. There's some big movies coming out. Tyler Perry's got some stuff coming out. So I'm looking forward. Yeah,
6 AAA.
End of October and November is gonna be good. So there's a lot of good films coming out there. So we'll make it up. We'll get it back, or maybe we'll diversify like we did last week.
Yeah, I like that. That was nice.
Mix it up a little bit. Mix it up. So I'll see. Get you out there. But anyway, thank you guys. See you next week. Anything else, Rob?
Nope.
All right. Peace, brother. Thank you.